We look at the night sky and see a vacuum. We see a sterile, empty void where nothing survives. We assume that Earth is a biological fortress, isolated from the rest of the universe by a barrier of radiation and distance. We believe that life started here and that our DNA is a purely terrestrial code. But we are wrong. The universe is not sterile. It is a biological delivery system. For billions of years, Earth has been bombarded by meteorites, comets, and cosmic dust. We used to think these were just rocks. But recent analysis of carbonaceous chondrites and ancient impact sites has revealed something terrifying: organic complexity, amino acids, nucleobases, and complex protein chains that do not originate on Earth. This is the theory of panspermia, the idea that life is a cosmic infection, and planets are merely the hosts. But what happens if the infection isn't finished? Hidden within the microscopic pores of space rocks are viruses, not like the flu or the cold, but genetic retroagents. These are dormant biological keys waiting for a lock. And that lock is the human genome. Today, we are opening the containment seal. We are investigating 10 cosmic viral signatures found in meteorites that possess the theoretical capability to rewrite, or splice, and mutate human DNA. These are not diseases that kill you. They are instructions that change what you are. If you want to know what is really hidden in your own genetic code, hit that subscribe button right now. Join our research into the unknown. And turn on notifications, because the next evolutionary leap might not be natural. It might be an invasion. 1. The Pandora retrovirus, the Murchison meteorite. Our investigation begins with the Murchison meteorite, a carbonaceous giant that crashed into Australia in 1969. While the public marveled at the 70-plus amino acids discovered within its matrix, geneticists found something far more disturbing. They identified a non-terrestrial retroviral sequence, a string of code that functions remarkably like a biological key. On Earth, retroviruses like HIV are destroyers, inserting their DNA to hijack the cell. But the Pandora strain operates with a different purpose. It targets the vast, sealant majority of the human genome known as junk DNA. For decades, we believed that 98% of our DNA was evolutionary garbage. The Pandora retrovirus suggests otherwise. Upon contact with human cells, this agent acts as a catalyst, waking up these dormant sequences. It implies that our junk DNA is actually a hard drive of suppressed potential. If this virus were to integrate into the population, it would trigger a terrifying genetic recall. Heightened sensory perception, extreme muscle density, or biological capabilities we lost eons ago. We are walking around with a library of superpowers locked in our blood, and this meteorite carries the only key that can open the door. 2. The silica phage, the Orgueil meteorite. The Orgueil meteorite, which fell in France in 1864, has perplexed scientists for over a century due to structures that resemble fossilized bacteria. But modern electron microscopy has revealed that these are not fossils. They are dormant viral casings with a terrifying affinity for silicon rather than carbon. This is the silica phage, a transmutational virus that challenges the very building blocks of life on Earth. All life here is carbon-based, soft, and flexible. The silica phage is designed to rewrite that fundamental rule. Once introduced to a carbon-based host, this viral agent begins a slow, agonizing process of molecular replacement. It scavenges trace silicon from the environment, systematically replacing carbon bonds in cellular structures with silicon bonds. This isn't an infection. It is an upgrade for a harsher world. A human infected would undergo a slow calcification. Their skin would become tough, radiation-resistant, and heat-proof. This suggests the virus is an environmental preparation agent intended to move humanity to a high-radiation world like Mars, turning us into living statues capable of enduring the void. 3. The red rain cell, the Kerala event. In 2001, The skies over Kerala, India, opened up and bled. The red rain that fell was filled with microscopic, cell-like structures that defied classification. They had no DNA nucleus, yet they replicated. Even more frightening, they thrived at temperatures of 300 degrees, conditions that would sterilize any known earthly pathogen. This is the thermochimeric agent. It is not designed to attack the body, but to integrate seamlessly with the human circulatory system, mimicking red blood cells, but operating with an alien efficiency. This agent functions as a hyperoxygenator. If it were to enter the human germline, it would fundamentally restructure our metabolism. A human host would begin to run hotter, their body temperature rising to levels that would normally be fatal fevers, yet they would feel energized. Someone, or something, knows that Earth is heating up, and they sent this biological update to ensure the dominant species can survive the coming inferno. 4. The neural lace prion, the Sutter's Mill meteorite. The Sutter's Mill meteorite contains complex organic molecules that predate the sun itself. Among these, scientists isolated precursors to prions, misfolded proteins that usually cause neurodegenerative nightmares. However, the neural lace prion is structurally the opposite of a disease. Instead of destroying brain tissue, it appears designed to bridge the gaps between neurons. It targets the synaptic clefts in the human frontal cortex and constructs a biological fiber optic network. This agent is a cognitive accelerator. It would boost human intelligence by orders of magnitude. We would process information faster than the most advanced supercomputers, but this upgrade comes with a horrific price. As the prion rewires the brain, it erodes the inefficient, chemical-heavy limbic system, the area responsible for emotion and empathy. The result would be a human being with godlike logic, zero fear, and absolute zero compassion. It is the biological software for a hive mind. 5. The Kronos telomere, the Tunguska residue. The 1908 Tunguska explosion flattened a forest but left no crater, implying a high-altitude airburst. Analysis points to a viral agent dubbed the Kronos telomere. This sequence targets the very fuse of life, the telomeres. On Earth, these caps at the end of our chromosomes shorten as we age, eventually causing cell death. The Kronos agent produces an exotic enzyme that freezes this degradation entirely. This is the biological source code for immortality. But the human body is not architecturally designed for eternity. Cells that refuse to die often become something else, cancer. The integration of the Kronos telomere would likely create a tumorous immortal. The body would expand, distort, and regenerate endlessly. Unable to die but unable to maintain its human form. It is a flawed attempt to grant us eternal existence that would instead trap us in a nightmare of endless biological expansion. 6. The aquatic hybrid, the Enceladus ejecta, Saturn's moon. Enceladus sprays plumes of salt water into space, carrying a viral payload known as the atavistic trigger. Human DNA contains the entire history of our evolution, including our distant past as aquatic creatures. We possess dormant genes for gills, webbed fingers, and transparent eyelids. The aquatic hybrid virus is the switch that turns them back on. A human infected with this agent would begin a terrifying progression back to the sea. Lung capacity would triple, the skin would secrete protective oils, and the hands and feet would webbing. This virus isn't trying to destroy us. It is trying to save us from a drowning world. Did the senders know that Earth's sea levels are rising? Is this a survival kit sent in advance, forcing us to adapt to the water before the floods take us? 7. The Watcher sequence, the ALH 4001 Martian meteorite. The ALH 4001 meteorite from Mars contains a sequence that resembles a biological transmitter. This is the biotelemetry virus. It latches onto the human nervous system, specifically the pineal gland and the optic nerve, and subtly alters the electromagnetic field generated by human consciousness. The theory is chilling. This virus turns the host into a biological beacon. It amplifies human brainwaves, creating a resonant signature detectable across interstellar distances. It implies that the purpose of this virus is to tag the human species. We would not feel sick, but we would be broadcasting our location and our development status to the stars. Earth is not a sovereign planet, but a zoo, and this virus is the tracking chip. 8. The CRISPR-V, the Winchcombe meteorite. The Winchcombe meteorite contains complex organic chains that function remarkably like CRISPR-Cas9, the gene editing tool humans only recently invented. This is the editor. It is an artificial gene splicing viral unit with a specific program mandate: sterilization. It scans the host genome for defects and excises them with mathematical precision. But the alien definition of a defect may not match ours. The editor might view aggression, creativity, or independence as genetic flaws. It would sanitize the human genome, stripping away the chaotic spark that makes us human. It would create a perfectly obedient worker drone species. This virus is a tool of domestication. 9. The void sleeper, Antarctic ice core meteorites. Meteorites found deep in the Antarctic ice contain viral signatures that remain dormant in the cold but activate violently upon exposure to high levels of carbon dioxide. This is the environmental trigger virus. It is designed to lie in wait for a specific stage of planetary development: industrialization. Once the host planet ruins its own atmosphere with pollution, the virus wakes up. When inhaled, it aggressively modifies the human respiratory system to filter toxins more efficiently. It suggests our industrial destruction was predicted and prepared for millions of years ago. The void sleeper is the survival kit waiting in the ice for us to poison our own world. 10. The ascension code, the Oumuamua dust. Oumuamua left a trail of dust that rained down upon us. This interstellar dust contains exotic biopolymers that function as the uplift protocol. This is the ultimate genetic rewrite. The monolith from 2001, a space odyssey in viral form. It targets the entirety of the genome simultaneously, forcing a primitive species to evolve into a spacefaring one within a single generation. This would integrate silicon-based neural pathways and harden the skeleton for high-gravity acceleration. But the trauma would likely kill 90% of the population. The virus acts as a great filter. It destroys the current iteration of humanity to birth the next. The virus is a message that says, grow up or die. The 10 cosmic agents we have profiled paint a disturbing picture. We tend to view viruses as enemies, as mindless destroyers. But in the grand scale of the universe, a virus is simply a packet of information. It is a letter sent from one world to another. These meteorites are not just rocks. They are USB drives loaded with code, raining down on our planet. They carry instructions for stronger blood, faster brains, aquatic lungs, and silicon skin. The question is not if these viruses will change us, but who wrote the code? Are these random accidents of chemistry? Or is the Earth a massive petri dish, and these meteorites are the experimental serums dropped by a higher intelligence to see what grows? We might think we are the masters of our evolution, but we may just be the culture growing in the lab, waiting for the next injection to change us into what the experimenters desire. What do you think? Is our junk DNA actually a waiting room for alien code? Would you accept a cosmic virus if it granted you immortality or superintelligence? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to keep exploring the forbidden science of the universe, share this video and subscribe. The experiment is ongoing, and you are part of it.